Can you walk us through the basics of packaging localization? We know that it's to put the games out in other countries, but what exactly does that mean?
Sure, yeah. So normally a publisher comes to us, the agency, with a laid out distribution plans. And so they'll come to us and they'll say, hey, this is where we want these games to be sold. Can you adapt our packaging according to first party guidelines, meaning guidelines from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, in order to get the packaging fit for distribution and sale in these regions?
All right, and so when we localize packaging, the things that come to my mind are the box art, which has a front.
Yep.
It has a back, and it has a spine. And it also has a cartridge or a disc label.
Yep.
And so correct me if I'm wrong, we need to localize all of those parts.
Yeah, so those components that you just talked about are all a piece of the puzzle. And I guess the first place we start is with language, right? Language translation. That's sort of the biggest key component of localization. So we'll take the contents from the disc label, from the back of the box, sometimes the front of the box, but usually the cover art remains untouched, like the original version. And we will get expert translations of what they're trying to communicate through this marketing art and adapt the boxes accordingly.
And so we talked about cover art, you said. And so where that comes from is a marketing asset that we often refer to as Keyart. And so the Keyart gets designed, could be by us, or in some cases, it could have been designed by another agency or by the developer or the publisher or who knows. And that's provided to us, isn't that right?
Yep, a lot of the time a basis for the key art is provided to us. So this is sort of taking us into the next step or stage of localization as a whole. So translation being the first one, and then you have the design layout is sort of the second part of the process that we move to. So we're provided that key art, we make that key art sometimes, and it requires sometimes some adapting or finessing in order to get the back of box screenshots to work perfectly with the accompanying text. We also have to account for the space that the back of the Xbox game case legal information takes up, things like that. The rating badge is another thing that varies in size per region, so we may need to adapt the game title or the key art image in order to work well in the design layout as a whole.